Hello students, in this module we'll be studying about the silent features of non-chordates. So now starting from the phylum Porifera, which are also known as pore-bearing animals. Now they are the simplest pore-bearing organisms which may be solitary, colonial or sedentary. Sedentary means when some organism they are attached with a substratum because they cannot move. They are mostly marine and some are freshwater. Talking about their shape, they are vase shaped or they may have cylindrical body. Students, their body shows cell aggregate plan and there is no tissue or organ system. So we can say that their body shows cellular level of organization. Ostia are small pores through which water enters the body and osculum is the opening through which water exits the body. So there are two openings here, ostia and osculum. Their body cavity is called spongocoel. And students, as in poriferans, digestive system is absent. So there are some cells, choanocytes, they help in digestion process. Talking about their exoskeleton, that is made up of silica, calcium carbonate or protein spongin fibers. Porifera feed on detritus material present in water, or we can say they basically feed on the decaying matter. Talking about their reproduction, students, asexual reproduction is performed by budding and sexual by gametes. And sponges have great power of regeneration. So if their body is basically cut from one side accidentally, so they can regenerate it in a better way. For example, Cycon and Euspongia. So you can see here, this is the picture of Cycon and Euspongia. Next phylum comes as the Cnidaria, students, that is the Coelenterata. We can say that they are colonial or they can live their life in solitary forms as well. They are sedentary or free living animals. They are mostly they are marine, but few may be found in fresh water, for example hydra. Fine. Their body is readily symmetrical. Fine. And presence of specialized cells which are known as cnidocytes, which contain stinging structures, and these stinging structures, students, they are called nematocyst. Fine. Now cnidocytes are present in tentacles. So you can see the picture here of the hydra. Fine. These are the tentacles, students, and there are some cells like cnidocytes. They are present in these tentacles. Now what is its function? They help in capturing large prey as their nematocysts discharge toxins into them. Now talking about their level of organization, that is tissue level of organization. Fine. In poriferans we had the cellular level, and in these coelentrates we have the tissue level. Due to blind sac body plan, mouth and anus, they are the same. So their mouth is also like anus and both these things, they are same only. And body cavity, that is known as coelentron. This is the body cavity, students, which helps them in digestion process and circulation process. And they exist in two types of body forms. So one is polyp and another one is medusa. These are the two forms of their body, where the polyps are sedentary and cylindrical life forms. Fine. So you can see here, students, the first one is polyp and the second one we have is the medusa. So these are the two different forms. Now medusa are free swimming and umbrella shaped. Fine. And their mouth is surrounded by tentacles. So you can see here that their mouth is surrounded by tentacles. Lot of tentacles are there. And these tentacles basically they helps them in locomotion, in movement we can say, and in capturing the prey. Students, basically they have poorly developed nervous system forming nerve net. Fine. See, look here, their bodies basically having a nerve net. You can see in hydra. Okay. So they have a poorly developed nervous system. And talking about their reproduction, so the asexual reproduction is done by the budding and sexual by gametes. Now here C anemone, they are the polyp type cnidarian, students. As we have already discussed that Their body exists in two different forms. One is polyp, example is sea anemone, and talking about its medusa type, that is the jellyfish. And corals, you must have heard about these names, students. They are very beautiful and they are used in jewelries and they form coral reef. Fine. So I would like to show you the picture of the coral reef. You can see here, students. You can see it under the water, very deep, and they look very beautiful, very very beautiful. Fine. You can see how colorful they are. So these are the coral reefs. Talking about the next phylum, that is Ctenophora. They are exclusively marine animal, students. They are radially symmetrical. I have already explained you what is radially symmetrical, students. They are diploblastic, so they consist of two germ layer only, and they are called comb jellies. So you should try to remember the common name as well, student, because it is very important. So these Ctenophora, the phylum this Ctenophora, the organisms or the animals under this phylum, they are known as comb jellies. Now they are having a spherical body, students, and they are outside their body is the external rows which consist of cilia. Now these cilia basically, they are the hair like structure which helps them in locomotion, basically movement. Fine. And they exhibit bioluminescence, students, which means the emission of light. So their body emit light and they looks very beautiful. And talking about their reproduction, so they reproduce sexually and the fertilization is external. Fine. It's not internal. And example is Ctenoplana and Pleurobrachia. Fine. So you can see here, these are the organisms of this phylum Ctenophora. They look so beautiful. You can see that emission of light. Fine. In the first one, you can see the blue and the translucent. Now coming on to the next phylum, that is Platyhelminthes. They are also known as flatworms. Students, they are bilateral symmetrical animals with blind sac body plan. See, if you have basically understood the basic terms, students, so they are not much difficult for you. These points are very easy. You just have to remember that what is their body shape, their habitat, their digestive system, their excretory system, and their reproductive system. So all these things are important. That is why this chapter is not that much difficult for you. Now they are basically mostly endoparasite. Fine. We have the ectoparasite and endoparasite. So ecto means outside the body and endo means inside the body. And body is leaf like, students. It may be ribbon like also. It is unsegmented, dorsoventrally flattened, and covered by cuticle. Cuticle is a layer basically. So it is covered with the cuticle, and here dorsoventrally means, students, dorsal means from upper and lower side it is flattened. Fine. So it is just like that, flattened, which we call chapta in Hindi. Fine. It's like a flat surface. And the parasitic forms, they show suckers and hooks. So what is the purpose of these suckers and hookers? They basically help for the attachment to the host. Fine. So these animals, because they are parasitic, so they want to attach to the host for the nourishment, for the nutrition. That is why these suckers and hooks are present in them. And talking about in parasitic form, the digestive system is totally absent, student. If it is present, it has only one opening. Fine. And talking about their excretory system, that is made up of flame cells. You can see here, this is the complete structure of Taenia solium. Fine. Which is Platyhelminthes, falls under this very phylum. You can see we have the uppermost region, that is scolex. Then we have neck. Then you have three types of proglottis. One is immature, one is mature, and another one is gravid. You can see the hook, students. Fine. With the help of which it gets attached with the host body. You can see this one is the planaria. This is also comes under the Platyhelminthes. Fine. You can see this planaria also. Now this one is liver fluke. Fine. Fasciola hepatica, scientific name. So this one is also the Platyhelminthes. So these are the various examples, students. Fine. I hope I'm clear. And their nervous system is in the form of nerve rings or nerve cords. Talking about their reproductive system, that is very very well developed, and animal are mostly hermaphrodite. Students, here hermaphrodite means the bisexual conditions. Fine. Bisexual means as both male and female sex organ, they are present on the same body only. And it's very very important point, they have the great power of regeneration. Fine. So if one of the body, you must have heard about the regeneration in class 10th, and that is to in the planaria. Fine. So if it body parts has been cut into several, like this complete planaria gets cut into like 3 parts. So complete 3 parts they develop into full planaria. So this is what we call it as great power of regeneration. And talking about their locomotory structure, And sense organ, they are absent, students. And example is tapeworm and liver fluke that have been already shown here. You can see the fasciola hepatica, planaria and liver fluke. So this is the complete structure of the planaria with the eye spots, the brain, the nerve cords and the transverse nerve. Talking about the phylum Escalaminthus, students, they are commonly known as threadworms, fine, or we can say the roundworms, and mostly they are parasitic, living in body fluids of host. Their body is long and cylindrical, which is thread-like. Talking about their symmetrical, students, then some are like pseudocoelomates and some are bilateral symmetrical animals, fine. These animals show tube within a tube type body plan. So they were kind of a tube systems, and their body walls show longitudinal muscles. They have a longitudinal muscles but no circular muscles are there, students, as they are longitudinal muscles only within their body. And this is now the last one is they have excretion, and that is take place by the protonephridia. It is the structure with the help of which they excrete. Talking about their nervous system, they have a nerve rings and nerves around, in their body. Their sexes are separate, students, so they are unisexual organisms and they show sexual dimorphism. So what is sexual dimorphism? We can easily identify which one is male, which one is female. So male Ascaris is shorter than the female. And one more thing, that male Ascaris has a curved posterior end with a pair of pineal seta for the reproduction. And talking about the female Ascaris, it is quite longer with a relatively straight posterior penile seta. Now example is Ascaris wucheria, fine, and we have Dracunculus. So you can see this is the female Ascaris. This one is the male Ascaris. You can see the interior and you can see the posterior and it is quite hook-like structure is there, shorter, and female is larger in size. Fine. This was all about today's module, students. Thank you.